Hello, and welcome to the Permission to Breathe podcast, a transformative space dedicated to providing a sanctuary where you can inhale deeply and exhale freely, embracing your grief journey unapologetically. I am your host, Dr. Tammy Isaac, here with you every Monday to offer comfort, guidance, and hope. Together we'll navigate this path, finding moments to pause, reflect, and breathe. Let's begin this journey side by side. Today's episode of Permission to Breathe is sponsored by Aurora's Grief Journey, my new children's book about navigating loss and finding comfort. Aurora's Grief Journey follows a young girl who's learning to cope with the loss of her grandfather. Through heartfelt storytelling and faithful activities, the book helps children understand their feelings and provides families with practical ways to heal together. If you're looking for a gentle resource to support a child through grief, this book is the perfect place to start. You can grab your copy today on Amazon. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's continue this journey of healing together. Today we are starting a special series on the holiday season, a time that can be uniquely challenging for those of us who are grieving. If you're joining today with a heavy heart, know that you're not alone. While the world is celebrating, some of us feel an emptiness that's difficult to put into words. In today's episode, titled Holiday Grief, Acknowledging the Pain During Festive Times, we'll gently explore what it means to grieve during a season that's traditionally filled with joy. We'll talk about why these feelings are so real and how to hold space for them without judgment. So thank you for being here, and let's take a moment together to breathe and honor the journey that we're on. Let's get started. The holiday season brings joy for many, but it also highlights absence for others. While the world lights up with festive cheer, those who are grieving may feel a bit more isolated, even overwhelmed. So today, I want to invite you to explore these feelings, knowing that they are entirely valid and that you're not alone. I want you to allow yourself to release any expectations that may be weighing on you right now as it relates to the holidays and what it's going to look like or what you think it should look like. Just give yourself permission to sit with how you're feeling now, and know that there's no need to fix it or to change it. So for some of us, grief during the holidays isn't new, right? Maybe this isn't the first year that we're feeling this way. We've felt it for me 8 years now, but that doesn't necessarily make it easier. And for others, this may actually be the first year, the first season, without the person that they love, and the aches feel fresh and sharp. So wherever you are, I want you to affirm that holiday grief has a way of revealing itself uniquely, and it's definitely okay to feel however you feel right now. Let's talk about what makes holiday grief particularly challenging. Traditions. Traditions can be beautiful, but they can also be painful reminders of the people who are no longer with us. Memories flood in, sometimes with specific details like the smell of our loved one's favorite dish cooking, or the sound of their laughter, or even the small things like the way they hung ornaments on the tree or the jokes that they would often tell every year. It's as if these moments are etched in time, and now we're left to navigate them alone or with a sense of something's missing. And that's difficult. That's a very difficult space to be put in. So when our holiday traditions change or a loved one is no longer with us, it is hard for us to really enjoy or celebrate. And for many, the holidays are a time when traditions help us connect to ourselves and others and bring us back to the memories that are a part of our upbringing. Often, these traditions would guide us through the end of our calendar year. However, these changes in our schedules and in our families and our lives have now made it more difficult for us to even enjoy our time together. We all know that our traditions are important to us on a personal level, but they're they really do matter. Even the small or even the silly ones, they are a piece of our culture and are part of the foundation of our families, our communities, and even our broader society. Traditions, they remind us of our values and they provide consistency in our constantly evolving lives. They are things we do repeatedly, but they aren't routine or automatic, if that makes sense. They are deliberate actions that connect us to our loved ones, and they provide a sense of identity and comfort. And in times like these, our holidays, we need them the most. But the fact of the matter is, our most consistent and loved traditions may not may not always be possible when our loved ones are no longer with us. It's okay to be sad when your traditions change. Hear me out. Most holiday traditions are things we genuinely enjoy, right? So when holiday events must be adapted, can't happen, or when a loved one is missing from the group, it is absolutely normal to feel a sense of loss because change is hard, especially when it's sentimental. Know that it's okay to be sad. It is okay to grieve. Give yourself permission. Allow yourself to grieve the loss of not just the loved one, but the loss of the typical holiday season, the loss of the way that you usually experience your typical holiday season. And in order to be able to move forward, one of the things I want to suggest is to try to focus on looking deeper into the meaning behind these traditions and what they represent for you, right? Because the holidays don't need to look a certain way, although we're used to it being a certain way and we have that expectation. But remember, we want, in order to help us cope, we want to let go of those expectations that we had of what it should look like or what it did look like. But take time to really look into the deeper meaning of why you did the certain things that you did and what they represented it for you. So, beyond traveling and coordinating schedules and planning that may have happened in the past, the true meaning centers on the connections and the memories that we make during these times of the year. And these connections really can help to sustain and ground us in our emotions, ground us spiritually, ground us emotionally and physically as we go throughout the holidays. Please know that a meaningful holiday is still very much possible. So new things can be uncomfortable, but they aren't always bad after all. Your longest lasting and most loved traditions were new at some point in your life. And there are ways to get through the holidays without losing the magic that your traditions will, normally or typically brought for you. I would suggest, if you're able or capable at this point in your grief journey, to take some time and reinvent your traditions. People are resilient and good at adapting. Um, what can you keep? Think about what you can keep. So we can adapt some new things into what we previously done and just make some adjustments to that. We don't necessarily have to change the whole thing. Just because the first night of Hanukkah won't be celebrated at grandma's house this year doesn't mean the holiday is totally canceled or off to a bad start, right? Get everyone on a Zoom call, light your first candle together, or, gather at a different relative's house. It's not exactly the same, but it will still help you feel connected to your loved ones. And, possibly at some point you can make new traditions. There's no rush to it. You could do it the first year, you can do whenever you feel comfortable with doing, but there are plenty of opportunities to create new traditions that will bring meaning and joy into the holiday season. And, is there anything missing from your existing holiday traditions you can kind of think of? If Thanksgiving is usually spent with the whole family, but everyone just hangs out and talks until dinner's ready, think of something you can all do together, like maybe watching football. I know my family does a lot of football, does a lot of games and card playing, dominoes, things like that. I often like to do the turkey trot myself. I do plan to do that this year. I haven't done it in a while. And so it's kind of a tradition that I'm getting back into since the loss of my mom. So I plan on doing that. But there are quite a bit of different things that you can do on a holiday to kind of make new traditions. And, you can start small rituals and um, just do important things that can possibly become big traditions for you later on. But those are some things that you can kind of think through as you begin to process what traditions will look like this year without your loved one. Grief during the holidays also brings what I call invisible expectations. These are the societal messages that says we should be happy, grateful, and full of cheer. But when you're grieving, it can feel like everyone else has moved on, that somehow the world doesn't see the heaviness that we carry, and that disconnection can feel very isolating. I was reading a blog called Grateful and Grieving by Angela Miller, and she says that there are some who believe that positive thinking and gratitude are the answer to most of life's ailments. And perhaps it is the answer, she says, for most of them, but it's impossible. But is it possible, she asks the question, to be both grateful and grieving? She goes on to say that sure, a posture of gratitude can help many situations, but gratitude doesn't always feel possible when we're grieving, when you've lost somebody that you love. Like she says, it could be a quick fix or maybe a game changer for some things in life that aren't as permanent, but all the positive thoughts in the world aren't going to change the fact that your loved one is dead, right? And so it will not change the fact that there is still a seat at the table missing. It won't change the fact that a particular voice is not there. It won't change the fact that maybe that grandma's favorite mac and cheese is not there. It won't change the fact that my mom won't be there to guide everybody in the kitchen and tell everybody what to do. It doesn't change the fact that their smell and their aroma is not there, that their character and their attitude is not there. Gratefulness will not change that. And if we're not careful, then forcing ourselves to be grateful and denying our grief, or someone forcing grievers to be grateful and denying your grief, becomes something that is called toxic positivity. And so today I was reading Dr. Tama Bryant's book, Homecoming, and she has this section here called Cautions on the Journey. And she says, some of us have been taught to arm ourselves with a toxic positivity that denies painful realities. And she goes on to say that toxic positivity is the message that you can think and talk only about positive things. It forces people to suppress and silence their pain with the mistaken belief that if they try not to think about it, it will go away. And she goes on to say that this is just denial, and it is like trying to remove the full human experience of what we're going through. It is denying that though I am grateful, it's denying the fact that I am honoring a loved one that was previously here, a part of my life. I'm denying a part of my life, a part of my life experiences. And so if I don't acknowledge and validate the emotions of sadness that I'm feeling, then I am totally denying an aspect of my life that I have experienced for a number of years or a period of time. And so we want to be careful denying our grief just to be in quote unquote a holiday spirit, because that's what the societal message tells us that we should be doing. Understand that I believe that gratitude is great. It really is, but it definitely cannot fix the death of something or someone that we love, and nothing can change that. The only fix for the pain that we experience, that Angela says in her blog, is to raise them back to life, and that's not happening, right? And so the only best thing that I can do is to honor them by allowing my love to be expressed through sadness, but also being grateful for the current time and period that I have right now. Are you grieving and feel like you're struggling alone? You don't have to walk this path by yourself. Book a virtual session with Dr. Tammy Isaac at Breathe Grief Counseling Center. Visit us online at www.breathegriefcounselingcenter.com. Dr. Isaac will help you put your emotions into words. She'll help you reduce the feeling of isolation. She'll help you understand that everyone grieves differently, and also help you prevent unhealthy coping mechanisms. Take control of your life with world-class counseling sessions today with Dr. Tammy Isaac. I want to invite you to consider this season the power of honoring your loved one. I want you to think about ways that you can do that. There are many ways to honor a loved one during the holidays. You can create new traditions. You can make a memory wreath, maybe light a candle, create a memorial ornament. You can plant a tree, maybe donate to a charity that they might have liked or often even donated themselves. You could visit their grave. You can donate or not donate, but decorate their urn if they have an urn. You know, maybe do a toast in their memory. And most importantly, just allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to feel sad and to express your grief, to mourn outwardly the expression of what you're feeling. And doing so is not always just crying, but it is ways of honoring them in the grief by finding ways to honor them, like the ones that I mentioned. That's embodying the grief that you feel by allowing gratefulness and grieving to come together in those ways. You know, remembering them in whatever way that you choose. It's a small yet powerful way of really just keeping them close and keeping them a part of your family holidays and traditions, even as you create new ones. So you don't have to avoid their memory or the tradition that you shared. unless that feels like that's what you need to do. If you feel like that you're not ready to do that, then, do what's best for you at the moment. But think about ways that you can honor them in a way that feels right to you, whether that means carrying on a tradition, altering it, or even creating a new one. Another way to honor your grief is simply by allowing it to be part of the season. Let yourself move through your feelings without judgment. And remember, grief can look different day to day or even hour to hour. Some moments you may feel sadness, others a bit of laughter, and that's okay too. Letting yourself feel fully is a gift that brings healing over time, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. One of the things it's important to know, and I shared this weekend at a women's health fair, as I talked about grief, is that God created us with a whole host of emotions that we have. God loved us so much that he understood that as we loved people, that it will be heartbreaking for us when they left our lives. And so what he put in place was emotions to help us navigate those feelings and help us lead us back to wholeness. But we've been so afraid of feeling the emotions and the sadness and the grief and the sorrow because we've been trained or brought up in ways to think that showing our sadness and our sorrows signs of weakness, and that we have to toughen up and get over things. We have not been taught that it's okay to feel exactly how you feel and navigate through that. And because of that, we don't properly heal through some of the most hardest places and experiences of our life because we don't allow the healing mechanism of our emotions to do what God has created them to do in our lives. As the holiday seasons approach, we're reminded of the many loved ones we cherish, but it can also be a time that brings grief to the surface. The holidays are often filled with traditions and gatherings that highlight our missing loved ones, intensifying feelings of sadness, loneliness, or longing. This time of year can create unique challenges, especially when others around us are celebrating. It's essential to remember that grief is a natural response to loss and everyone experiences it differently. As we navigate the holiday season, be gentle with yourself, honor your emotions, and allow space for remembrance and connection. Whether it's creating new traditions, setting aside quiet moments for reflection, or finding support among friends or community, there are always ways to manage and even find meaning during this difficult time. This season, may we find comfort in our memories and peace in honoring those we hold dear to our hearts. Today, I encourage you to take small steps to honor both your grief and your love. And remember, there's no right or wrong way to navigate this season. You have the permission to grieve, to feel, and to embrace moments of peace, however they may come. Thank you for joining me for this first episode on holiday grief. Next week, we'll be talking about coping strategies for handling holiday emotions and how to create space that support our well-being during this season. Until then, be gentle with yourself, breathe deeply, and know whatever you are or wherever you are held in love. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Permission to Breathe podcast. I hope today created space for you to breathe and find peace on your journey. I invite you to join me again next Monday for another episode as we continue to navigate this path together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and to share the podcast. Until next time, take care and keep breathing unapologetically.